flowing, we'll have ourselves a little chat.
Well, that's a fair trade, then. So tell me, how did you start out in your life a crime?
Well, I suppose I'd have to go back a bit. Back to when I first met Willie. Willie got me into the trade.
Grave robber?
Yeah. Bloody good one, too.
None of us is innocent, Mr. Blake.
Do you like being in front of the lens?
Oh yes, I've really, when I was a kid, I wanted to be an actor. But what I realized is that I have so much lust to be involved in all the different elements, from art direction to camera placement, music, storytelling. So I guess that's why I became a director, and then sort of after that a producer.
How long have you been?
All that, yes. All those things lead you to be a complete filmmaker, and I love editing almost more than everything I've mentioned. Mm-hmm. But acting is my home base.
How long have you been in the game now? It's
Well, I started CINEFANTASTIQUE, which is my little company name, in 1985. And so technically I've been since then, but I've made movies since 1979. This was my first Super 8 adventures. I've made 30, 40, 50 movies in Super 8. It's a great medium. I still believe in it. We still pull it out now and again to make our stories. And I've never been a format whore, you know. I love all the formats. Super 8, video. I mean, VHS is a little tacky, but, you know,
it has
the
its
main
place.
thing is, yeah, it has its place. The main thing is to tell your story, and I appreciate all the formats and how they affect the viewing. You know, let's face it, watching an old VHS is pretty much like looking at a movie through a gauze filter, you know, while you're on crack. But that's fun. It's a look. It's a feeling.
How do you keep the lust alive?
I just love imagery, and you know, I'm not a geek. I haven't seen every show. I don't know every movie. In a way, I was so engorged as a kid by the movies that I saw that I'm still sort of riffing on that. And then there's that little thing called your own experience, which is feeding me. And you know, I think if you're a sensitive kid, everything seems vibrant and intense. And that's really what feeds me, much more than movies. I'm not really one who endlessly quotes movies. I don't even find that interesting. I'm really intrigued in telling stories based on like how reality feels. And the fact that I'm interested in horror is because that's just what I've experienced. I find life frightening, vibrant, the potential for violence, disaster, the aggression that's all around us. I find all those things exciting and intimidating, and I want to make movies about that. And I want to make audiences feel as uncomfortable as I do by reality.
Hear, hear. Can you tell us a little bit about Scareflix and this roster of films that's coming up?
Well, what happened some years ago, I'm never good with dates, but my comrade James McKenney, he was working for me. He invited me. I was in between movies. I'd made Wendigo, which is one of my own films, and you know, it was always a long time between my own films because getting money for things like what I do is difficult. They're not slasher, they're not real horror, they're very subtle kind of character pieces with a sense of dread and existential horror. So the point is, here I was, yet again, waiting for my next project. And McKenney, who worked for me, he said, listen, man, I can make a movie for, you know, $25,000, and there's some money in the till, because he knew my bank account, meaning the glass eye bank account, which, you know, had been filling up for various reasons. And he said, let's do it. What do you say? I have a script, I have a crew of 6 guys that I love, maybe it's 4 guys. So we put that together, and really that's how I'd always made movies. So it was a great inspiration from Jim to be reminded, like, what really I love about filmmaking is that you can do it seat of the pants. With the new technologies, it gets easier and easier. There's just fewer and fewer excuses if you want to tell a good story. And then, you know, he said he wanted, I said, who do you want in this movie? And he said, all my friends, but I always fantasize about having Angus Scrim in the movie. And I said, well, fuck, let's, why not? Let's call Angus. So that's when we realized, you know, you can do this kind of Roger Corman model, and you can have, you know, your core group of people, but you can maybe reach your hand out into the real world and invite someone like Angus to be involved. And he loved the script, and so we got Angus involved. And that led to a second film, Ty West. He was a kid that I knew. He interned with me. Yo! See you guys. Ty was an awesome, inspiring. He'd made great little shorts, and I said, one day, kid, when you graduate, give me a call. We'll make a picture. Sure enough, literally, I think 2 days after he graduated, he came to me with 3 pitches. I said, I like the Bat movie. So we made The Roost. That led to, I think Jim McKenney then pitched. I mean, make no mistake, these movies were actually paying for themselves, and twice fold. So I just like the model where you're working with a group of artisans who are committed. They're young enough to work for on the cheap, but there's some payback in that it's you're making art. You're not just making crap, you know, that sift into the studio system or the straight to DVDs. These are all very, very heartfelt personal films. And the fact that they're horror is why we can do them. Let's be honest, horror is a genre where you're able to make so-called personal films, because if there's enough gore or intrigue, it'll have some commercial possibilities.
What's next for you?
Well, we made a deal with a company called MPI, and they're basically financing the next round of these Scareflix. So we made 6 altogether of these Scareflix. Each one is unique, distinct, and worth talking about in a longer interview. But now we're excited that we're moving into, we're making 3 more. It's what we call our year-long slate. They're financed by MPI, and we're really excited. We're able basically to do what we've been doing, make individual inspired, sort of oddly just unusual films in the horror genre that all have some sort of commercial hook, we hope. But it's not my motivation. It's how we've pitched it to this very accommodating company. They made a movie with us, Ty West, who's one of my guys. They made his film called The House of the Devil. And we all had a pretty good experience. So from that, we're going to set forth and do these 3 movies. Once again, at a very small budget. So there's not a lot of risk. What there is a lot of balls out excitement. And directors who get to express themselves, and my whole thing is like, keep the budget down so we can have the most fun and creative potential possible, and that way how can our financiers complain, because we're delivering these movies for nothing.
3 cheers for balls out excitement too.
Here we go.
Are you not the babysitter?
Oh my God!
Talk to me, Laura.